Hey, this is for you, Wayne and John and Dana and Stephen and Nikki and Andrew and Michael and Isaac and Corey and Kyle and Dee and Neil and Maurice and maybe some others. I can't remember if I forgot somebody. This is for all of you. Um, I'm making this video because I owe each of you either a phone call, a text, or an email, or in some cases, multiple. And and the thought of repeating this discussion 20 times right now feels exhausting, and I'll explain why here in a minute. Hey, I just first want to just say I apologize for my radio silence. It's not my intention to avoid or not answer. It's just been really, really hard the last couple of months. And yeah, um, my best working guess right now is, and I'm looking at some notes because I can't do this off the cuff, off the top of my head, is my guess is that right now is that after 10 years of in Greensboro, the stress of the ministry I walked into and eventually closed, and the financial crisis that happened after that, and then initiating new ministry and relationships from scratch and from a dead start, plus doing, some side gigs and side hustles to keep food on the table, launching kids into adulthood, some pretty significant family crisis and health crisis, some death, and then caring for some aging parents. Finally all caught up, and I hit a wall, and I reached a point of just burnout and exhaustion, to the extent that taking a day off or even 2 days off doesn't really do anything anymore. And kind of the tipping point happened back in probably April or May, I think, where my brain function just started to stop. So my mental functioning is really taking a hit, and it started when I realized that I was having a hard time reading, not just reading anything, but then when I would read, it, it just wasn't going anywhere, uh, and then I noticed that my ability to initiate stuff dropped off, which is why there's 12 or 14 or something of you that I'm talking to right now. I just ran out of whatever is in the well that has for 30 years been as easy to do as anything, which is just make a call to someone I don't know, initiate something, set up a meeting, get started with something. I just ran out. That well's empty right now. And my memory's been horrible. Even if I write stuff down, my memory's horrible right now. And so I think I'm kind of at a full-on burnout place. It's not surprising to me. I've kind of watched myself physically over the probably 3 or 4 years ago reach a point of I wasn't recovering as fast physically, especially as we took on some work and role of caring for Carol's parents. And then about 2 years ago, maybe 18 months ago, I noticed my emotional reserves were depleted, because now, family members that are difficult, I just didn't have the capacity for them. And I just had to walk away from conversations and situations because I just didn't have it anymore. And now this, and I've never had this experience before where my mental brain functioning has stopped or really been impaired. So it's a little scary. I'm stupid enough not to get scared very often, but this is a little scary because I'm not sure what's happening, and doomsday scenario takes over, and I'm concerned that I may never get back to what I know is normal. Um, but I fight that. I don't go there or don't stay there very long. Um, but I was a little bit caught off guard at, I wasn't anticipating what I'm experiencing now. I could see the physical and the emotional coming. The mental one, it almost was like a light switch almost, or, a fast dimming of that brain function. So some of those executive functions of planning and organizing and initiating and doing that kind of stuff, it has really dropped off. And I think it's just because I'm tired and exhausted. So that's why even having a conversation with this conversation 20 times, it's like, I don't have the energy even for that. So let me tell you what I'm doing, just so you know. On a day-to-day basis, I'm trying to be kind to myself, keep my daily goals small. I've been helped by the Porter's Gate hymn albums of work, lament, neighbor songs, work songs, lament songs, and it helps me pray on my morning walks. I have a couple of colleagues that I meet with locally here every week, and so I keep them up to date with this stuff. And I even got one of them. They're both from North Carolina originally, but I got one of them talking like he's from the Midwest and just giving me what for. So he's no longer a nice Southern gentleman. He's just a jerk from the Midwest like me. And that's helpful. I'm seeing some different doctors to address some physiological questions and some neurological questions. I have a family history of brain aneurysms, which is a bummer. So there's some things going on that I'm having checked out. I'm walking, I'm doing yoga, I'm eating mostly good. I'm intentionally avoiding Andrew Carley's tempting fried Oreos and funnel cakes, though those might actually be just the medicine that one needs. So that's kind of day-to-day what I'm trying to do. Near term, I'm trying to find a way for Carol and I to spend some time together at the beach here in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Hopefully just getting away and being able to work a little bit, and then when my brain kind of shuts down, I can just go sit on the beach, and hopefully it'll act like a cortisone shot in the arm of a pitcher and be able to get me a few more innings. And then long term, I'm trying to looking at taking an extended break next spring or summer for reflection and rest and deeper restorative work. So that I want to give you guys that as an update. I'm going to do my best to follow up individually with you now that I've kind of put this out there, and just touch base and see how you're holding up. So then I said, how can you help me? One, if you can keep on being patient with me, I will really, really appreciate it. Know that I do not think ill of you, or that I do not like you, or that I don't want to be with you. That's not true. All those, the opposite is actually true, and I hope you know that. And so hold on to that. I'm really glad that there's so many in this group compared to when I started, because it was just me. And you're all kind of the same. You're relationally focused on relational discipleship, pioneering and finding the path ahead for the gospel and the people of God in the culture we're in. And you're risk takers, and you pay a price to follow Jesus. And yeah, so yeah, that's so I appreciate your patience. Um, I'm also finding, and this is where you can help me, is um, that when I find that if I'm able to show up at something, I can function pretty well uh, by listening and asking questions and reflecting what I hear and helping identify next steps. And sometimes I can take on a project that kind of has a beginning and an end, as long as it has a, it's not, the deadline isn't in 30 minutes. If it's a day or two, I can kind of get that done. And it's actually helpful in a way to have someone else tell me, hey, this would help me if you could do this for me. And that actually kind of has led the first friend I made here in Greensboro after I shut down Spring Garden. He and I were talking, and he said, maybe it's time to bring the spokes closer to the hub and make the spokes into the hub, because I've been the hub and you've been the spokes. So I know all of you, and you're all connected to me. But how to begin connecting together more. That my weakness right now may be pointing that it's long overdue to move the spokes into the hub or into hubs, since we all have kind of a similar focus, despite some different theological points or positions on this and that. The priority of Jesus of Nazareth, risen from the dead, Lord of earth and heaven, that his kingdom is near, that being accessible to people, to invest our life and build God's word into people, those are all common points, and that's good. And so I think it's time to, in a way, use my weakness to begin coming together more intentionally for this reason, and identify our questions together instead of just with me, and begin working on those questions together, and then moving together and answering them and putting them into practice and becoming a community of common practice. And so that first friend is we're going to work on that, and it allows me to kind of just be present initially and not be the initiator. And so stand by. It may take another month or so to get that up and going, but I think we've got enough initial momentum between the two of us to get that started and see where it goes. So that's it. I love you guys. Thanks for being my friend. Thanks for your patience. And hopefully I'll be able to get in touch here soon. Bye.